than you, and you know it.
Dr. C-Ham.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Wrestling Crossroads. As always, I'm one half your dynamic duo Twisted, being joined by Hex today.
Yellow!
Thank you again for coming on, as Brother Pyro is still in his leave of absence, unfortunately.
I still miss him.
But we love to hear, obviously the different voice, and it's good to kind of have everybody else on still.
I hope at least our voices translate different. I know some people, their voices sound so similar. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping so, even especially with this nasal congestion I got going on. So today we are covering AEW Double or Nothing. Overall, this card looks pretty nice, and I'm shocked to say that I was more excited for this than for yesterday's pay-per-view.
We share in that one. I was even looking at the match cards. I was way more excited for Double or Nothing than I was for King of the Ring, which is a little sad. But, I mean, good for Tony Khan, I guess.
Right. I mean, he has storylines between each and every one of his matches. They're built up beautifully. I mean, the only one there's really no storyline behind is the first match we have on our card.
Well, yeah. That was
just kind of, yeah. You know who it is. We know.
Moxley came in through the crowd when Takeshita was in that ring. All he does is go face to face with him with a mic in his hand. Doesn't say a word to him yet, just hits him with the mic. And as Takeshita's on the ground, he goes, "See you at Double or Nothing for the championship."
Whatever.
Okay, Moxley.
Alright, well, that kind of starts us off. So take us through our predictions.
So speaking of Moxley and Takeshita, that is our first match for the World Heavyweight Championship, the IWPG one. And it's an eliminator?
Yes, eliminator. So if Takeshita wins, he will have a future shot at this.
Alright, so for this, we are all joined together in our boy, Jon Moxley. Which, not mad at.
No, there's no reason for him to not only lose this match, but to, even if he does lose this one, it's not necessarily for the title, it's a contender match. Mm-hmm. So, or eliminator as they call it. But, even if he were to set it up for a championship match, I don't see him losing the title yet.
Yeah, it's Moxley.
But I do want to point out that I noticed this little tidbit after he won it. Moxley is the only man to ever hold the WWE, the IWGP, and the AEW.
Splendid.
So, he's kind of worked his way up since his days in the other promotion that we cover.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him in that, but I get to see him now, my boy Mox, and I'm sporting that Mox Violence hoodie while we record this. So.
Well, I know how much you love the violence. He wasn't very violent, more psychotic.
Where there's Mox, there's blood.
And unfortunately, when he was Dean Ambrose, there was none.
That's really unfortunate, although at the last week of Dynamite where there was Adam Copeland, there was blood.
Yes, and we'll get to that later. Alright, next we have a 3-way for the FTW Championship with FTW rules. Chris Jericho takes on Hook, taking on Shibata. Now, last pay-per-view, we had Chris Jericho versus Hook with, Jericho trying to do this learning tree type-esque thing with Hook. He asked Hook's dad, Taz, set us up a meeting so that we can, talk. I want to speak to him, and ended up ultimately shoving Taz, which pissed off Hook, gave him a title match, and unfortunately Chris Jericho walked away with the championship. After some time, Shibata kind of came looking for revenge as well. They were placed in a 3-way match alongside another competitor where both men went for the pin, thus bringing us to this triple threat match.
Yeah, both.
Or 3-way match, as they say here in AEW.
Yeah.
Looking at our predictions, you, alongside Brother Pyro, have chosen Chris Jericho to retain his championship. All of us are going Hook.
Big Bill. That's my reasoning, is Big Bill, that I don't know what the heck happened to him here, where he all of a sudden is, sucking from Jericho's teeth. He does not need Jericho.
No.
That one, I was scratching my head like he was begging for what do you need him for?
Like, honest to God, Big Bill, with his height and his charisma in the ring, he doesn't necessarily need anything. I loved seeing him past in WWE, and then when they broke up the tag team that he was in, there was really no direction for him, but had he kind of kept with that, I'm big and I can do a lot of damage, he wouldn't be sucking from Jericho, essentially.
No, I think maybe the whole tag with Ricky Starks wasn't the best for Big Bill. It was great for Ricky, not necessarily for Big Bill.
Right. And I do notice a lot of times when you're going with a champion retaining or you're going more heel, it's always because of interference, which is pretty smart. But, Hook has shown us what it takes to be a champion. He was a very long reigning champion with the FTW championship the first time. I don't see him not winning this, and if he doesn't, or I don't see him, not winning this, and if he does lose this one, then I think it's time to chase something else. Yeah. I understand that this is his father's title, but maybe it's time that his father kind of helps him see other titles in his midst, because he put on a hell of a show with Samoa Joe for the title.
He can be more than just his father's son.
Yes.
He needs to step out of that shadow. Yes, it's an honor to hold your dad's title, but you've held it.
Yep. You've held it twice.
You deserve better, honestly. He deserves more opportunity.
I totally agree. Take us to our next match.
Alright, our next match is for the Unified AEW World Trios Championship between the Bang Bang Gang and Death Triangle. I personally miss Juice Robinson. I wish he would come back. But I digress on that. That's just me being a Juice stan.
It sounded like you said Juice stand instead of Juice fan, and I was like,
I want to stand out some Juice, okay?
It kind of makes sense because, how do you sell lemonade at a lemonade stand? Juice stand? Kind of works. Tell us how we got here.
Alright, so the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club, they've been bullying Pac, specifically Jay White. Jay White seems to be the one who's mostly kind of bullying him. And last we saw Jay White bullying Pac, he had brought him out in front of everybody, beaten down already. And so this was more like, alright, 3 against 1. It's my turn to bring back people. So Pac had come out for the last episode of Dynamite and said he had some amigos too, and out pops Penta, El Cero Miedo, and Commander for reuniting, Death Triangle, at least 2 out of the 3, for what I hear. I'm not familiar with the past Death Triangle, but I got filled in. So, with Flash Desario and Hex picking Bullet Club and the rest picking Death Triangle. Evenly split there, 3 and 3.
Yeah. I mean,
what's your reasoning?
Death Triangle has been a group a lot longer than this new version of Bullet Club or Bang Bang Gang, and they know each other very, very well. At least, Pac and Penta have been together for a while in AEW. Whereas, the Guns, who are part of the Bang Bang Gang, had been brought in around the same time that Pac and Penta were at the beginning. They don't know the other people. They don't know Jay White as close as Penta and Pac know each other and know Commander. And, could I be wrong? Could they know each other in other promotions? That's more of something for Brother Pyro to correct me on. But, of course, he's not here.
Yeah, Pyro.
But, as far as I know, AEW-wise, Jay White just came in not that long ago. So, could there be some wrong footing on this? Yes. Do I see Death Triangle being the one to pick up the win? Yes. Okay. And that's more or less my reasoning. Brother Pyro, unfortunately, didn't give me any reasonings for his. So, I digress there, unfortunately.
Well, for me, choosing Bullet Club, they've been together for so long. They know how to work together so seamlessly and beautifully that Pac being the extra in, although being brought in to AEW with Penta, may not operate as well as a trios as, say, Bullet Club. And who's to say Juice hasn't been out for a while? Who's to say Juice doesn't come back?
Oh, you would be so ecstatic.
I will cry. I will cry quarts.
Desario says that Jay White deserves better than this, which is why he is taking Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club, however you want to say it, as the winners.
I do think Jay needs a push. I do agree with Desario on that. I think Jay does deserve better, but I digress.
Again. Next match up is the AEW International Championship. Roderick Strong defends against Will Ospreay. Ospreay had previously fought in a gauntlet match to earn his chance at this championship. I'm really excited for this one because I love Will Ospreay.
Oh, me too. That charisma is infectious. You can't help but not like him despite him being part of the Don Callis family.
I don't think he's going to be part of Don Callis' family for very long.
I don't either. He doesn't like the way they operate. It's clear by the way he reacts.
Not even just that. Like, the last pay-per-view we had, all Don Callis was doing on commentary, and it was so funny because the last one, I remember talking with, I don't believe it was the last one, but the one before that. Me and Brother Pyro were watching, and I remember us talking about the fact that we couldn't hear Don Callis for a majority of it. We had, zoned him out, completely blocked him out, and then we went back and watched and listened for Don Callis' voice, and he was actually speaking a majority up through it. But he was bad-mouthing Ospreay. Talking crap about Ospreay.
He was. I didn't even notice. Maybe I need to go back and read.
And there was even times where he would call him stupid about things that he was doing. It was against his match with Bryan Danielson. He was...
which is funny because he does not like Bryan Danielson either.
The thing is he got mad about the fact that Ospreay wanted to stay in the ring with Bryan Danielson to make sure he was okay.
Heaven forbid someone's a good person.
Right? And again, it's that type of thing where, with Ospreay, he's a genuinely caring human. And
he also just does not need the Don Callis family.
He does not. He
stands on his own.
Way above them. Speaking of that, we are majority on Will Ospreay's side, with Flash being the only one to choose Roderick Strong.
Why does Flash choose Roderick? Is it because he's a Roderick stan?
No, not necessarily. He is more familiar with Roderick Strong than anything. So Flash goes off of familiarity.
Fair enough.
And he knows Roderick Strong because of their time in WWE in the Undisputed Era.
Fair.
So that's just kind of his thing. And then, Desario was a little bit of a shocking one because he's not favored for Will Ospreay, and him picking that was a little shocking to me.
Okay.
And his reasoning, just, he's being booked very strong. He sees him being the one to come out on top.
Yeah, well, there's a reason most of us picked Ospreay, isn't there? We all see the same thing, it seems.
Definitely. All right, take us into our next one.
All right, our next one is Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. No.
And how did we get to this one?
Oh, gee. How did we get to this one? Well,
this is a while.
If you're just tuning into AEW, Trent turned on Orange Cassidy, what was it, about a month and a half back?
Yes, turned on the best friends in general.
Yup, and so he had a brawl with Chuck Taylor as a parking lot match because Chuck Taylor sided with Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm. And Chuck Taylor wasn't medically cleared to compete, correct? That's why they had the parking lot brawl?
It may have been. I'm not entirely positive. I'll have to go back and check that. But I know afterwards we were told by Orange, if I'm speaking correctly, that Chuck Taylor will never wrestle again. I do not know how factual that is. It could be storyline.
I'm hoping so much that it is storyline, honest to God.
I have an inkling that he might show back up.
I'd be okay with that. I would so be okay with that.
Where he will side, nobody knows. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so
to our predictions.
Pyro, Twisted, Flash, and Cauldron all picked Orange Cassidy, with Desario and I choosing Trent Beretta.
And I know you gave me your reasoning before the podcast on why you chose Trent. I think the viewers would like to hear that.
Alright, so not only has it seemed like Trent's had the upper hand, he won his match against Chuck, he's been poking the bear. He's had another match with Orange to where I believe he was the victor. Not only do I feel he comes on strong into this match as opposed to Orange, but who's to say that Chuck doesn't come back?
Okay.
And ultimately decide, yeah, it's Orange's fault that I can't wrestle. and costs Orange this match.
So you think that Chuck could come back and side with Trent?
Mm-hmm. We've seen it happen in different promotions. Like, it's happened, so who's to say it can't happen now despite him never coming back.
Yeah,
quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you on that one. But we've seen Orange Cassidy when he was the international champion really fight through a lot.
He is resilient.
I think his resilience and his stubbornness is what's going to carry him through this match.
I won't be surprised if Orange wins. I won't.
No.
Because it could really go either way. They're pretty evenly matched. They know each other very well from being best friends. It's just who's going to get the best out of the other. Who's got more fight.
I totally agree with that.
We've also had Don Callis pulling Orange away. So who's to say they don't have something going on behind the scenes where Orange has help from some of the Don Callis family, or even just Don Callis being a distraction.
Yeah, it's if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of thing.
There's something going on.
I don't see Orange joining the family.
There's something going on. What is it? We don't know, but we do know there's something suspicious with Don Callis pulling Orange.
Yeah,
away from other people like Chris, going, where'd he go?
Definitely. I do want to point out, Desario's reasoning for this was very, very funny as to why he chose Trent.
All right, let's hear it.
He said, "Hey kids, look, it's a match with a build and a story. Actually, AEW has been better for this month for this actual story building for this particular card. Still going Trent, his heel turn should continue to play out." Now, we know how Desario feels about storylines and builds and how they need to be proper because he's been doing this and watching this for so long. And with the fact that he actually gave even just a little bit of praise for AEW, building up a story is really big.
Especially if you've been following kind of messy when it comes to storylines, and even with the little bit of time I've been watching it, only watching it for probably a year now.
Yeah.
There's been my moments where I'm sitting here like, what was he doing scheduling matches like this?
Right.
Or, it seems a bit sloppy sometimes.
My big thing that I will always say, and I know Brother Pyro agrees with me on this, we've gone back and forth on this 1,000,001 times, is you have 3 different TV shows, but you use the same people on each of them. You should honestly take your Saturday one, what is that, Collision? Take your Saturday Collision, make that for your underdeveloped people.
Or Rampage. Rampage is the shorter show.
Whichever one you choose, I just figure, not a lot of people are going to tune in on a Saturday, especially, with it being the newest one. You make that your underdeveloped. You make that the kids, they essentially are in the wrestling world. You make that the people that need the growth, that need time to learn. And then you take your weekly shows, the ones that are really competing for ratings against other promotions, WWE, Impact, New Japan, and you make those have your big stars. You have rosters for them. That's the thing that Tony Khan needs to start looking at and needs to start learning, is you don't mesh these people on every single one, and you don't constantly have the same faces because people are going to get bored of them. Does it help for the storylines because of how much they pull out their lengthened pay-per-views? It could.
Or repeated competitors competing over and over and over again. Like, I don't know how many times we've seen Orange Cassidy enter right now, but
not even just that.
Some of that's been feeling redundant. Like, we just saw this match last week. Why are we watching it again?
Right, and there's a match further on that we talk about, the AEW Women's World Championship. You've had the same people competing for this championship. It has. You have the current champion, Toni Storm, who competed for it a number of times. Saraya, who's competed for it a number of times. You have Serena Deeb's now going for it. You have Jamie Hayter went for it a number of times. Britt Baker went for it a number of times. You had the same women playing over and over and over again for this title. And although we don't have Britt Baker at the moment, she was still somebody that was constantly going for it. Thunder Rosa, even. And you have such a beautiful women's roster that can do a lot of things, but you're subjecting them to lower parts and not giving them enough screen time so that they can build into something. Like the Women's World Championship match that we have later that we're going to discuss, there's no build to it. Where's the build? Where's the story? Why do we care?
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is, and that's why I think that eventually Tony Khan either needs to separate his rosters, like so many bigger promotions have done, if he wants to be that big someday.
It almost seemed like when he brought in Collision that he started to do that, and then he just kind of got lost.
Yeah. No, get the help. Talk with your EVPs. We know who they are. Obviously, they're in matches later on tonight. And separate your rosters.
And they've been here for a while too, haven't they? Mm-hmm. So wouldn't that be, especially because they were like, we're running the show now. Yep. They did not do a bad job. Mm-mm. They didn't do a bad job. Were they crazy? Absolutely. But they didn't do a bad job.
They're loons.
But being someone who necessarily isn't bred into this business, lean on some of your people that know the ins and outs.
You literally
Adam Copeland. You just signed in Adam Copeland. He's been wrestling for how long?
Right.
You could ask him. I'm sure he has so many ideas.
You have Adam Copeland that you just signed. Your EVPs are Chris Jericho, Matt and Nick Jackson. These are people that have been doing this forever.
Yeah, even Jericho.
And honestly, lean on them for help and separate your damn roster so you can start to show more people. You want to be big like the one that, like the company you're competing against on TV. Do something to get us interested every single week. Mm-hmm. Instead of just showing the same damn 6 people.
And then crying about how it's not doing well.
Honest to God. They could
change it.
They could beat in ratings. AEW could beat in ratings. If they were smart.
He needs to apply it better. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have the right experience.
No, he doesn't.
He should stick in football.
Oh, Lord. All right. Into our next match, which I know you're very excited about.
Yeah, we're not... The House of Black for me is just...
Yeah, that's your...
And not to mention you brought in Adam Copeland. So here we go with the TNT Championships. Barbed wire steel cage match. Holy crap, am I excited. Adam Copeland versus House of Black's Malakai Black. I can't contain myself right now. I'm far too excited about this. Not only do I like Adam Copeland a lot from his time as Edge, and Malakai has just the House of Black. Ever since I saw that, I was just like, woo!
So give us a little insight into how we got into this match.
Alright, so for a while now, the House of Black has just kind of been picking on Adam. Mm-hmm. Don't necessarily remember where it came from, but they had their sights on Adam Copeland. And it started with just ganging up on him the usual, playing the mind games, talking to him on that Jumbotron.
Yes. Okay.
And so on and so forth, and then they would gang up on him and in the ring, and the thing that broke Adam Copeland, I think, in my opinion, and someone could have different opinions on this, you could have a different opinion, but I think what broke Adam Copeland to get this far is when Malakai Black removed his wedding band.
I totally agree. His wife is kind of his everything in his...
The only time he quit a match was when something was going on with Beth.
Yes, definitely.
And so, and then all of a sudden, Dynamite this last week, Malakai is wrestling Kyle O'Reilly. Mm-hmm. He wins the match, not surprising to anybody. Mm-hmm. Granted, it was a wonderful match. Kyle O'Reilly did a great job. Malakai Black is in the middle of that ring, just standing there, kind of regaining his breath after the match, and just getting prepared to leave. Yeah. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, blood drops down from the ceiling on top of him, smearing the whole ring. The ring is covered. Malakai is covered. And then all of us, before the blood drops, I should back myself up here, it starts flickering red. The ring goes red, and it's flickering between black and red. And then it goes back to the lights on, and then the blood drops.
Yeah.
And then after he's, rolling around on the ground, obviously, oh, what the heck is this? Mm-hmm. Get covered in this goop, looking around, getting mad, because he knows. Let's be real, he didn't need that Jumbotron to come on to know who did that to him. But that Jumbotron comes on, and you just see shoes walking downstairs. But all of us know who this is coming down the stairs.
Definitely.
Adam Copeland. He gets into the camera's face and goes, Malakai! And, he talks to him, gets in his head, it's like, haha, I have the upper hand, kind of. Mm-hmm. And he kind of laughs at him, and he goes, see you Sunday. And the screen cuts out, and Malakai is left pissed and covered in blood. Which brings us to the barbed wire steel cage.
I mean, it's a mouthful, so.
Where Pyro, Twisted, Desario pick Malakai, Flash and Cauldron picked Adam Copeland, and me being undecided until just now has decided to pick Adam Copeland.
Really?
Yes, it was a very big struggle because Malakai is such a force himself against a veteran like Adam Copeland, who's done it all, seen it all.
Won it all.
Won it all. Has done so much. But now he faces a formidable foe in Malakai Black. And don't let that steel cage fool you. Malakai could still have his buddies help him.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. If he really wants it to.
Honestly,
will it happen? Perhaps. Probably. Let's be real. It seems like wherever Malakai is, the rest aren't far behind.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I think ultimately that last laugh from Adam Copeland's going to be the thing that sticks in his brain and distracts him a little. I
think that they should finally strap the rocket to Malakai and give him a title, because we already know that there's a discussion of him leaving once his contract is up. But how do you keep him to stay? You give him a title. You give him that push that he deserved so long ago.
Each one of those members of the House of Black, aside from Julia, she's got her singles push that she had.
Yep.
They deserve their singles push. All of them. They're all very impressive in the ring. However, I think Brody King maybe falls a little short on that end. I'm more intrigued by Buddy Matthews and Malakai.
Yeah.
But Brody King is still a force.
Oh, he is. Going into our next match, we have the AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm defends against Serena Deebs, as we had said earlier.
Dweebs.
You know, honestly, this just came with a lot of mind games. Toni Storm came out undressed behind Serena Deeb's dojo.
Wrapped herself.
Her flag for her dojo, and wrapped herself in it, walked down to the ring. I don't necessarily know where this kind of started, where this happened, because it's one of those that are just thrown together,
I'm not entirely sure, and I'm pretty caught up.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure where Serena Deeb came into the mix, but all I know is I didn't like Toni Storm until she cracked, and this is just getting funnier.
Looking at our predictions, and to shock Brother Pyro, unfortunately, who is not here, I'm choosing Toni Storm along with everybody else. We know how much I dislike Toni Storm. I'd love Serena Deebs to pick up the win, but there's nothing here that would set her up for it.
See, and I can't stand Serena Deeb.
I knew her from her time in the Straight Edge Society with CM Punk back in WWE. Yeah. So I followed her there, and then when she kind of left the promotion, I didn't hear much from her. So seeing her with AEW, which is another promotion that I got into, is really nice to see her again. Like
her, Serena Deeb, her and Mercedes Mone, there's just a few of these people that are just boring. They don't get my engine going like some of these others do.
Oh yeah, I know.
Even like I said, I did not like Toni Storm at first until she cracked. Mm-hmm. When she cracked, she became likable to me, but maybe that's just also me. I liked the cracked, wacky.
Yeah, you do.
I am cracked and wacky. I'm a broken egg.
It's even judging from, your man outside of this, Mr. Ridicos. It's something. You like the wacky, so.
He's pretty wacky.
He is. Alright, let's take us into our next one. I know you love the bloodbaths. I gave you this.
Alright, our next match is Anarchy in the Arena. Team Elite being Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, Jack Perry and Kazuchika Okada versus Team AEW and Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, I'm special, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood FTR. This is an exciting match, too, for me. I'm very excited. Maybe it's just because Darby came back for me, because, man, do I love Darby Allin.
Oh, yeah, I love Darby Allin.
I'm going to say it, and I've said this multiple times, that man is a fighting kendo stick. He's so tiny, but he's so impressive.
He is. His
resilience and the way he can muscle through anything that he gets put through is... It's almost like he doesn't get going until he's been abused first.
Honestly, he's twice over injured. His last match was he ended up with a broken foot before he was ready to climb Mount Everest, And that was
Step
after
revenge.
he went through glass in his match before that. Didn't climb Mount Everest, but then got hit by a bus 2 weeks after.
This man's he's
No,
only
you're
here.
here. You're not even 100%, but you're like, you know what? I have been here since day one in AEW. I am fighting for AEW because you guys are trying to turn it into something that it is not.
Not even a bus can keep Darby Allin out of this. Come on now. All right, so may I also say on how Darby Allin appeared on Dynamite last week was hilarious.
That was beautiful.
Him being banned from the whole building by the Young Bucks, and then Tony Khan pulling up at the end of the night and just bringing a Darby Allin holding what? A flamethrower. Like, oh yes, that was the best ending.
It fits for Darby Allin. It totally
He's a
does.
wild child, and that was definitely the right weapon to carry in for a wild child, other than the typical he brings in his skateboard.
True. All
Alright, so for the predictions here, we have Desario and Pyro choosing the Elite. Flash is undecided, but Twisted and Hex be me, I be a Spectral Hex, and Cauldron all chose Team AEW.
I mean,
Do you know Pyro or Desario's reasoning for choosing the Elite over Team AEW?
reading Desario's exact words are Team AEW versus Team AEW Elite. What is this? I'll go Elite over a random group of guys. That is I think
Desario cracks me up every time he does a prediction
He does.
of anything and has his reasonings. There's funny ha-has in there. I look for the funny ha-has from Desario.
Well, just wait till the next one. You're going to be on the floor laughing.
I can't wait.
More or less, Brother Pyro, if I could, pick his brain, which I normally can, his reasoning being this is more of a push for Jack Perry than it is for anybody else in the group for the Elite, because Jack Perry is that one that needed to side with
scapegoat.
the Elite in order for him to solidify himself as the biggest heel in AEW.
And boy, does he do it well.
He does. He does it very well. But, when he first turned
On Hook.
ways and ways back on Hook, you didn't take him as a believable heel. There wasn't anything credibility to him.
I think he needed some coaching.
He did. And who better to coach you than Matt and Nick Jackson, who pull off this we are the EVPs so beautifully. And the best
Even
way...
the Rainmaker, he's doing a good job too.
Right. And Brother Pyro said it, the best way to solidify him as a heel is you need to team him with Matt and Nick Jackson.
Yeah,
they
are great heels. They're
They're
although
beautiful heels.
they have me scratching my head a little bit. It was like, what exactly are they trying to do here? It seems like one of them's doing good cop, bad cop, but then they're also both good, and then they're also both bad. Huh?
I swear these boys are bipolar.
I was gonna say, are they bipolar?
Lord knows. Alright, going into our next match, TBS Championship, Willow Nightingale defends against Mercedes Mone. I know how you feel about Mercedes. That is all great and beautiful. Let's take a trip back to when these women first met each other in the ring. It was for the IWGP Strong Women's Championship. They were crowning the inaugural one, and Willow Nightingale actually defeated Mercedes Mone. Mercedes wouldn't even have the strength or the ability to walk out of the ring on her own.
I remember seeing the footage of that, of her being carried out by staff.
Yes.
With her legs straight out.
Yep.
Was it leg that she injured? Well, okay, probably the leg that was, because she probably couldn't bend it.
Yes, she did injure her leg in that match. So, technically, Mercedes has never beaten Willow.
Technically.
And now with Willow having this championship, and obviously Mercedes being this hot shot woman, she comes in and she pretty much puts her mark and says that that's the target she's going for. Because, everything runs with money. And Mercedes Mone,
Well, she's good at is shaking her butt at the top of that ramp to CEO. That's all she's good for. She's not even great on the mic.
I liked her better as Sasha Banks when she was in WWE. I watched her, kind of come in the best friend group, be the boss, be the blueprint, and then she left.
The only thing I know of Sasha Banks in WWE is when she got hair whipped by Bianca Belair.
Yes, that
was the smack, that loud,
And, that was the first time that African American women ever main evented a pay-per-view and main evented a WrestleMania.
Sad that it took that long.
It is. But it took until WrestleMania 35 for women to even main event a big pay-per-view like that, and Becky did that with Ronda and Charlotte. So they main evented, the next year over, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. That being said, going into our predictions, we are split 50-50. Pyro, Flash, and Desario have all chosen Mercedes, where me, you, and Cauldron have chosen Willow Nightingale. I don't think she's dropping it.
Not to mention, first off, here's my thing. You bring Mercedes Mone into this, and then I get it, the feud with Willow Nightingale, but you have her in her first match, she's supposed to be this hotshot, she's getting booed.
Right.
What was this for? Because Willow Nightingale is just stealing all the spotlight here.
Exactly.
Where's the spotlight that you paid all this money for Mercedes Mone? She hasn't wowed anyone enough to cheer for her. They're all voting Willow Nightingale, which, how can you not love Willow Nightingale?
Oh, she is...
And I love her motto, smile anyway.
She reminds me, and I pointed this out in our last one, she reminds me of my friend who I used to call Sparkles in high school. This sweet, overly bubbly personality, nothing can go wrong because everything is sunshine and rainbows, and she always found a way to make it that. Mm-hmm. And Lord, I love her. I miss her. We chat here and there, but Sparkles, it's just, everything was just happiness. Mm-hmm. So, as I had said, Desario's reasoning for choosing Mercedes is what's going to make you laugh by the beginning of it. He says, title match number 865, TBS title. They've built Mercedes too much to have her lose. That is all. That is all. So, going into our third and last main event, as the two before were also co-main events, because I don't think Tony Khan understands what a main event is.
Wait, there's co-main events for this?
It was a 3-tier main event. Oh, so it was Anarchy.
It's not a cake, bro.
Yeah, no. It was the Anarchy in the Arena, the TBS, and then this last one.
That doesn't make sense, but okay.
Yep.
You do you, Tony Khan.
Again, Tony Khan doesn't understand what a main event is.
He's too busy crying about other things.
If you want to have a 3-tier main event, you have 3 rings in the middle of that floor, and then you have it all going on. But then again, ain't nobody going to be watching what you want them to watch. They're going to turn off their TVs because we're watching too much on once. Anywho, we're doing this one together. How does that sound?
Ooh.
So, do you want to take out and let them know what we're having?
It's a boy. It is the AEW Championship match between Swerve When I Drive and Christian Cage.
I know you miss Prince.
He's a father! It's Swerve versus he's a father!
He is the daddy of AEW, apparently.
Oh, God.
Lord. I can't stand Christian Cage for the life of me.
Yeah, need I mind you, his own daughter didn't have a smile on her face when she was back there with him, but he's the best father, right?
Apparently so. At least, Nick and Mama Wayne. I can't say that with a straight face. Going into our predictions, we are...
Forgot about Killswitch.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't care to look at a red dinosaur.
I wish he would have turned on Christian months ago when he could have.
Yeah, he should have. When he could have. All of us, aside from one, are choosing Swerve Strickland, while you, Miss Hex, are choosing Christian Cage.
I'm sorry, Swerve ain't got nobody.
No.
Christian Cage has the whole patriarchy. That's why I'm kind of shaking, scratching my head here on everyone picking Swerve.
Well, Desario's reasoning...
It. Tell me Desario's, maybe he can shed some light on why I'm confused.
He says, I want Christian to win. Best heel in wrestling at the moment, but Swerve isn't losing in his first defense.
No, I can understand that, but here's the also thing. I totally disagree with him thinking that he's the best heel. I've seen so much better heels than Christian Cage.
At this moment, raw heel, completely, I don't turn face for nothing. Raw heel Christian Cage is the best at this moment. The other ones, you can see that there's a teeter in their midst, but Christian Cage is full on just raw heel.
We can agree to disagree. I think he's a probably one of the most dull heels I've ever seen in my life.
And that's what makes him
I
a
prefer
good heel.
Dominic Mysterio on a WWE, and that's
Oh
saying
my
something.
lord, you and Dominic Mysterio could go back and forth on how much you hate him.
Which is saying something that I prefer him over Christian Cage, don't you think?
Yeah, that is entirely saying
I'll watch Serena. I'll watch Tiffany Stratton give a speech.
Oh, yeah. 30 minutes of, it's Tiffy time.
It's Tiffy time! This is the wrong thing. We should go back to AEW now.
Anywho, that does actually conclude what we are talking about, AEW Double or Nothing.
It is not Tiffy time.
No, it is not. It is
Swerve when I drive time.
Yes. It is Swerve's house.
We're dropping blood on Malakai. Mox is gonna draw some.
Yep.
There's gonna be some anarchy.
And we're all looking forward to it. That does conclude the end of this podcast, and we will actually see Hex back here either later tonight or tomorrow to record our post show. Thank you again for agreeing to come back and do that.
Of course. Hopefully I don't lose the kitten again.
Oh lordy, you gotta lock that kitten up in a little steel cage. You'll keep it then.
Should I give him some barbed wire too and give him a friend to fight? Like,
just give him a little plush Malakai. It'll be okay. We'll see how Adam Copeland wins the match.
Are they gonna get all those tattoos on a plush Malakai?
Oh lord, I mean, that'd come with some very talented drawing at that point.
This is very rambly end of the podcast.
It's cool, okay. You should hear Brother Pyro at the end of a podcast sometimes. All he does is either mumble jumble or we hear a rant. So, again, we thank you guys for tuning in, and with that, that is the end. Laters.